12/12/2025, a portal of energy. Lotus Dawn here with Blossom with the stars, True the Stars, Sidereal Astrology. I'm out here in nature and I wanted to share with you some of the numerology of today. I thought it was very interesting given our astrology as well. We currently are in an incredibly powerful divine portal between now and Christmas. And the reason for this has to do with the 13th sign of Ophiuchus. If you're not familiar with the 13th sign of Ophiuchus, I will put a link to some of my videos that go deep into the energetic of Ophiuchus. It is the 13th sign. The powerful thing about it being the 13th sign is also in the story of Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus was said to be a half immortal in Greek mythology who actually traveled the land healing the sick. He was raised by Chiron, the great centaur, the great teacher, who taught him about medicine, health, and healing. But what was really tremendous about Ophiuchus was that he actually learned how to bring people back from the dead. It was one of his miracles. He was also the son of Apollo, the god of the sun. And so in my studies of tuning into what does the 13th sign of Ophiuchus represent, what is it really? It's been very fascinating for me to learn that Ophiuchus and the Greek mythology of Ophiuchus relates and correlates and mirrors the story of Jesus, Jeshua, the divine teacher. And when you add Ophiuchus to the constellational wheel, it goes from being a 12 sign zodiac to a 13 sign zodiac, which is the same number as Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and all of the disciples. And so how does all of this relate to it being 12/12/2025, a divine portal? Follow along, I'm getting there. So 12/12/2025, I went ahead and added up the numbers. It adds up to a 6. A 6 in numerology represents love, it represents beauty, it represents nourishment, it's the divine feminine. It is ruled by Venus, the billionaire planet, the planet of divine expansion, divine abundance, prosperity. It's a beautiful energy. It's an energy that loves to create beauty and share love. And so amazing that this 12/12/2025 adds up to the number of the goddess, the divine feminine. And today, the divine feminine planet, Venus, is in the 13th sign of Ophiuchus. The Sun, Mars, and Venus, all in the 13th sign of Ophiuchus. Why is this so powerful? We have to go back. We have to go back to Ophiuchus being similar to Jesus in the constellational Greek mythology. The son of Apollo, the ability to bring people back from the dead. And the story there supposedly is that he was on his travels out healing the sick. He came across a snake, and in those days they wore sandals, and so a snake was very dangerous. So he kicked the snake out of his way to protect himself, killed the snake, and then out of nowhere another snake came up, gave that snake herbs, and that snake came back to life. Now, this is meaningful because as I've tuned into Ophiuchus again and again, I feel like part of what Ophiuchus represents is the energy of Jesus, the energy of Jeshua, the energy of manifestation, the energy of mastering our ability to manifest, our ability to work with energy, our ability to ascend. Why is it so powerful then that the sign that represents Jesus is right now in the middle between Venus, the divine feminine, and Mars, the divine masculine? Well, we have to go back to the story of Jesus, and we have to go back to the reality that we don't actually know the whole truth of that story. And we have to go back to the story of Mary Magdalene. the divine feminine counterpart of Jeshua. And I don't know how many of you have followed this information that's been coming out more and more and more as we've gone forwards here, that the Vatican and the Catholic Church painted Mary Magdalene as a sinner, as a prostitute, that Jeshua, had mercy and compassion and helped her repent and come into a spiritual life. Well, according to my research, and comment below if you've heard the same thing, Mary Magdalene was not a prostitute. She was actually a very wealthy woman who came across Jeshua's teachings and had such a deep connection, activation, awakening, that she followed his work. And he then began to notice her presence, and he began to notice that she had a divine gift to receive his teachings, that maybe others, including all of his other disciples, could learn what he taught and have awareness of what he was teaching, but that Mary Magdalene wasn't just involved with her mind. Rather, she could receive his teaching into her soul, into her core, into her beingness. And from that awakening awareness, be able to then share it with others, not just from a thinking, but from a knowingness. And so the story is changed. and I just have to say, the sun right there coming through is just absolutely divine. I can feel the light rays coming onto the earth today, and it's intense. And so when there's increased light ray activity, it's not that we always just feel really wonderful. In fact, I had to go do meditation for 2 hours and clear energy in order for me to even make this video today, because I woke up feeling just incredible anxiety. My heart was racing. I didn't know what was going on. And so what I realized is that the light rays are pushing anything up to the surface today that are no longer in alignment with our true self, our true light, our true shining. And so coming back to the story of Jeshua and Mary Magdalene, and it's quite a story. And the reason I'm sharing it is because Ophiuchus, the energy that the sun is in, Ophiuchus, that is located in the sky right near the entrance to the galactic center, which is the most powerful portal for manifestation and creation, is right now sandwiched on either side with Venus, the divine feminine, Mars, the divine masculine. And what the guidance or the channeling I've been receiving over and over again is that the truth of the divine feminine and divine masculine in balance, in harmony, is being called forth. That the old patriarchal rules of separation between men and women, in terms of who can be a priest, right, is only can be men, right, in so many religions, it needs to change. Because if we go back to the story of Jeshua and Mary Magdalene, Jeshua chose Mary Magdalene to take his work out to his disciples. And that's where you can find, they recently discovered the lost scrolls, one of which was Mary Magdalene's teachings. And so she was actually nominated by Jeshua to take his work out into the world and share it with the masses. However, his other disciples were quite jealous of her ability. They didn't understand. In that time, women were not allowed to teach. And so we're not allowed to teach at the level that Mary Magdalene would have been raised to, stepping into leading after Jeshua was gone. And so not only did he nominate her to take his teachings out into the world and share it because of her ability to receive, right, the divine feminine's ability to receive his teachings and to have a deep knowingness about those teachings in the way that women are often able, but they also had a child. And as the story goes that I've read over and over again, they had a child named Sarah. And that after Jeshua's death, Mary Magdalene took her to France, and they lived out their lives. They developed quite a following there. In fact, there's many statues of Sarah and Mary Magdalene still in France, and that lineage continued and actually became the foundation of many of the royalty in France after their passing. Now, you've probably heard of the Knights Templar. Well, what I've heard is that the Knights Templar were actually created to protect that lineage and that line of Jesus. And so what is the lesson here? What is the information? As the sun sets on 12/12/2025 in California, Jeshua was not celibate. In fact, him and Mary Magdalene utilized sacred sexuality, divine union, to assist Jeshua to rise into the height of creating the miracles, such as bringing others back to life from the dead. And this sacred knowledge of the divine feminine and masculine, the world is hungry for the truth. The world is hungry to place the balanced pair, the divine union of the divine feminine and masculine, back into its rightful place, where men and women work as collaborators, teachers, divine guides together, that it's not a separation, that one is not more valuable than the other, but rather they work in a spirit of perfect harmony and perfection. And so right now, as the sun sits in the middle of Venus and Mars, we may be having memories, recollections, awarenesses, and emotions that could stem from memories of our own divine unions with our divine counterparts. And I know that the word twin flame or divine union, there's quite a lot of buzz with this and a lot of different points of view. But having tuned into the energy of Mary Magdalene and Jeshua and their story, I do think that coming into a divine balanced connection and practicing sacred sexuality and living and learning together is one of the most powerful things that a man and a woman can do. And it can trigger everything and bring it all up to the surface. And so, tuning into the energy of today, I think that we're being asked to heal our hearts, to heal our former relationships that maybe we thought they were the one, to heal our potential future relationships, and to get prepared to clear and come into balance, to call in, create, or sustain or improve the divine unions that are in our life, not just externally, but our own internal divine union. And so the advice or the awareness coming me today on this master number 12/12/2025, as we prepare to go into 2026, the year of one, the year of the fire horse. I would say next year maybe represents the year of divine union, the divine union within ourselves, which will then lead to the external experience of a divine union externally. So the energy is rather intense as the sun and Venus are currently combust, which is they're very, very close. And so there may be a lot of heat from the sun, bringing a lot of illumination to our love life, our financial life, everything that Venus represents. And it's very intense, it's very penetrating. So my advice to you is to do energy work, do awareness work, do meditation, get out into nature, confront what this powerful light is bringing up to the surface, tune into your heart, tune into love, maybe research about Mary Magdalene and Jeshua. I'll leave a link to some videos I really love if you want to go deeper on this topic. And just remember who you are. If you are a divine feminine goddess, please remember who you are, that you are, as Mary Magdalene represents this incredible role model, a divine teacher, and that it's not through what you do, it's through what you are. Jeshua did not choose Mary Magdalene because of her skill set and what she'd achieved. He chose her because of her ability to be, her ability to receive, her ability to be aware and awake, and to take in the knowledge of God and Source, and to be able to share that from our heart, to receive from the heart and to share from the heart. So return to your heart today, return to love. And if you have not watch my previous videos where I invited you to share your birthday and month so that I can share with you what your numerological year number is for 2026, please go ahead and share that in the chat. And I'm going to be having some really great offerings for the year of 2026 if you want to go deeper on what your roadmap to 2026 will look like from your astrology chart, from your numerology, from your Chinese astrology. You can go to blossomwithlotus.com to check out some of those offerings, or you can email me at blossomwithlotusnow@gmail.com. I'm going to put together a sales page for you all. Please comment, please like, please subscribe because it helps me grow my channel. It helps me share this work with the world. And let's just all tune into, call on the beings of pure love and light to assist our hearts to step into balance and to step into divine union. Biggest love to all of you from my heart, from the earth, from the divine source. Aloha.